The mystical American Patriots Society is transmitting to you from beneath 4 million cubic feet of solid granite, in the burning heart of the Yellowstone caldera. This is a variety program for normal sandwich-eating Americans with some concerns about living in a deranged, post-Christian technocracy. So, keep your third eye on the sky and your ear to the ground, as Sumo and Smokestack connect your main brain vein to a higher plane. Are you ready? Stand by.
Good morning.
Hey, good morning.
Can you sound like a very excited, what would you call him? A very excited guy at a Mexican restaurant in a band wearing the sparkly jacket. Yeah.
Like that?
Perfect. Okay. Yes. I need you to just do that while I play this song sort of liberally where appropriate.
Okay.
Okay. I don't know how this is going to go. We'll see. That boom, boom, boom. See, the Mexicans are very like the Germans. It's pa. Pa. Okay. In the Malos Mountains, campesinos are planting their fields. Where the ghost of Zapata rides a horse can stay out on the wheel. High in the sky up above and cleared out of sight, the free Mexican Air Force is flying tonight. In the city of angels, a cowboy is cooling his heels. Remembering God gave us herbs and the fruit of the field. But a criminal law that makes outlaws of those seeking life. The free Mexican Air Force, Mescalito riding his white horse. Yeah, the free Mexican Air Force is flying tonight. Flying so high. How strange that an innocent herb causes money to burn. They'll jail you or kill you for making those rich cats swear. They're the fools who make rules with no difference between wrong and right. That's why the free Mexican Air Force is flying tonight. Uncle Sam and his misery put a nix on the fields of Guerrero, saying shoot down all gringos and wetbacks who dare wear sombreros. Either run for your life, surrender, or stand up and fight. Or join the free Mexican Air Force, Mescalito riding his white horse. Yes, the free Mexican Air Force is flying tonight. Good morning, everybody.
Morning.
You're really good at that. We should be a mariachi band.
I'll try to learn some Spanish.
It's not necessary. No one at the Mexican restaurant is going to know any difference.
Can I play a harmonica in this band?
Yeah, not even the Mexicans really know any. If you just scream like that,
just scream stuff. Okay,
they're fine with it.
Sweet.
Yeah, I was. Have you ever heard that song before?
No, what's it called?
It's a little it's called the Free Mexican Air Force.
Naturally.
It's a little you need the mariachis to really sell it. But it's okay, it's good. You did a good job.
Thanks.
Yeah, all of the, if you want to make traditional Mexican sound music, like what people think of Mexican music, you just go boom bam bam boom bam bam boom bam bam. It's very similar to what's that other one?
Polka?
Celinto.
I don't know.
You know, the one that you sing when you go to the mariachi band.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, there's ay, 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 there's that one.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, and which again, people just make up the words. They go, "Oye, señores," and then you go, "Cielito lindo, donde alto," you know that one.
Right. None of those are words. It's just made up.
Well, none of them are words when I was doing it just
Okay.
now.
All right.
But no one knows the difference.
Sure. It's really more about the vibe.
It's really about the vibe, right? And then the other one is what's the other one that is the Mexican song? There's ay 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 ay.
La Cucaracha.
Yeah, well, that one. But so that one would be de la sierra, cielito lindo, vidium bandeando. It's just always the papa.
Yeah.
You go, ay 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 ay. Canta señores, porque cantando se alegra lindo los corazones. And I don't know any of those words actually. You just make a vague sound.
It's interesting.
And it's the same. No one in the Mexican restaurant knows any different. Just like if you go to like a hibachi grill.
Uh-huh.
As long as you have a tan and you can chop up the things fast, no one knows you're not Japanese.
Right.
I went to one time, and I swear there was like two guys there that were Indian, like Hindu.
Mm-hmm.
They were just pretending real hard to be Japanese, and no one noticed except me. But
that hibachi place when we were in school had some, just fat white college guys.
Yeah, but those people aren't trying. If you go to a big city, they really want authenticity.
Okay.
So maybe they have a Japanese, but most of them will be Chinese, pretending to be Japanese, or Koreans. They
could still flip shrimp at you.
They can.
They did a good job.
They did a good job. But everything is in America is just trying to be Disney World.
Right.
It's all like Epcot. Like, now we're going to go into a little slice of Mexico. Let's go down the road, and now we're in the Far East. Jade Palaces or whatever. That's the Americanification of the world. But yeah, Free Mexican Air Force by Peter Rowan. It's about marijuana, obviously, before it was legal everywhere. Did I lose you?
No, I'm still here.
Oh, okay. Yeah, it's about marijuana. I played that song because I decided to label our Sky Pirate network as the Free Mexican Air Force.
Oh, that'll be fun.
I know. We should have little patches.
Think about the merchandising opportunities.
The merchandising opportunities and the modeling opportunities.
Yeah.
For people that want to model the merch. But yeah, I was thinking because Abominable Tuxman or Bannister. He recently told us he was looking into getting into ballooning, hot air ballooning.
Yeah, I'm very excited about this.
I 100% support him. Do it, Bannister, and all our listeners also. We need the Air Force is slowly growing, and who knows how large it needs to become, but it needs to become bigger. Is what we do know.
He can change his handle to the Flying Tuxman.
Yeah. But yeah, we need like, and if you we need to sell patches on the website, but you have to verify that you have some sort of air travel first for these specific patches.
Yeah.
Because the hot air balloon community is big on like patches and jackets and stuff.
They're like a motorcycle gang. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like a motorcycle gang that's a lot more relaxed. Because you can't get like on a hot air balloon.
Well, any mode of transportation you can't steer requires a certain degree of
that's
chill.
A little bit of a fake.
Really? You can steer a hot air balloon?
Well, you can't steer it per se, but at different altitudes, the wind is going different directions, so you can go up or down and sort of sail.
Oh,
and that's how people get a vague. You can't pinpoint your spot very well, but you can get a vague. Although there used to be this contest I used to watch called a ring grab, and they'd have basically a big ring on a tall pole, like maybe it is a tall pole, like 4 stories tall or something. You'd have a little ring on it about the size of a hula hoop. Mm-hmm. It may have been a hula hoop. And they had a contest. They'd take off like, I don't know, 3 miles away, and they'd see who could float into it and grab that ring. And then if you got the ring, you were the winner. And some people could do it pretty consistently. So I think it's just a matter of feel, because one of those people he tried to get too low, and then he was going to hit the trees, and so he yelled at me. He said, "Help me not hit the trees." So I ran, and he tossed me a rope. He's flying overhead, so I grabbed the rope, and I'm holding onto the rope. And then he decided without telling me that he was going to hit the trees anyway, so he was just going to go up. And so then he hit the burner, and then I just fly up into the sky dangling from this rope. And I was like, this is like something on a sitcom.
Yeah.
You should put me down. But he was afraid for the trees, so I flew by a rope for a little bit. It was not the most enjoyable.
I imagine.
But
not.
but in the ballooning community, they go around. All the balloonists in America know each other. There's not that many people percentage-wise that have hot air balloons.
Yeah,
very few. My parents' neighbor in their neighborhood, he has a hot air balloon. I see him go up sometimes if I'm over there. Early in the morning, you hear.
Awesome.
And you look outside, and his little canopy's just rising past the trees. But they all know each other. They all go around all these various ballooning events together. They all try to outdo each other on who can go the highest or the farthest or whatever. It's a lot of fun. There's one guy I've seen. Oh, I don't know. He's been at it for like 50 years. He's got pictures of his balloon all over the world. And in the ballooning space, like I feel the Free Mexican Air Force should be heavy on the balloons.
Sure.
Like we need planes, obviously. We need paramotors.
That's going to be my mode, paramotor.
Yeah, and we need at least one helicopter. Mm-hmm. Eventually. But and I don't mean like a small helicopter, like a Chinook helicopter.
Sweet.
We need at least one of those.
Something we can all fit inside.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Or something an elephant could fit inside. Mm-hmm. Because like in the movie Operation Dumbo Drop. I've always wanted to do that. I don't know. There's the deep cut there, Operation Dumbo Drop.
Man, that is a deep cut.
But it should be heavy on. There's so many reasons to be heavy on the ballooning. Mm-hmm. Yeah, the one very low upkeep.
Yeah.
It's not like a plane is here's the thing about flying a plane. In your car, when the check engine light comes on, most people ignore it for a long time. It's not good to do that in an airplane.
Right.
Right, because if the engine starts going, you just sort of start to fall out of the air, and it's not fun. And so there's very regular maintenance that you do on an airplane that can be expensive. Like you need to oil. You do the oil like every day. not just once every 3,000 miles. Although you guys know that's fake too. The oil thing.
You don't need to change your oil. Is that what you're telling me?
No, you do need to change your oil, but the places you go to get your oil change will say 3,000 miles, and if you look in your owner's manual, it's like 20,000 miles.
Yeah, the new ones with those light, low viscosity synthetics, they go for 10 plus.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, they've been. I mean, even in old cars in the olden days, they used to be like 8,000 miles somewhere in there, But the express oil change people are like, oh, every 3,000 or it'll be a problem.
Don't go to those places. Mess up your car. Don't go there.
Yeah, it's fake. But the oil in a plane is like a daily check, a daily to do. It's very so. That is, it's expensive for the Free Mexican Air Force. I mean, I don't expect our Air Force to be that much bigger than, say, the Air Force of Rwanda.
Mm-hmm.
It'll be about similar.
Yeah,
which would actually be true,
right?
If we get like 3 planes, but I don't think Rwanda has very much of it anything. But we need but a balloon is very it's very low cost after the initial purchase. It runs on just propane, like you get at any store, right? And it can lift. It can go places airplanes can. It can land places airplanes can't, like on the side of a cliff, maybe.
Yep.
Top of a mountain.
Mm-hmm.
And it can carry stuff. You can buy these attachments to go on the bottom of the canopy. Goes up, and you can lift, like, say, building materials if we needed to build something in the middle of nowhere.
Oh, right? You could use it like a crane.
Exactly. It's a flying crane. We could use it to deliver like wood and concrete mix for like our secluded homestead, far away from the zombie apocalypse of the people who've forgotten what pronouns are for. Mm-hmm. Or who have forgotten the difference between plural and singular. And, we could all sail the entire Mojave Desert in hot air balloons. Wouldn't that be lovely?
Oh, man.
And there's a lot of room also in the ballooning space to do things, like new things. I guess to break new ground or new air.
I feel like the design there's room for some new innovations in hot air balloon design. Yeah,
I mean they're totally yes, and also just new feats. Like for instance, I do a little underappreciated Americans here because in this show we're going to talk about celebrities. Did you know that?
No, I didn't know that. That's great.
We're going to talk about. And I want to talk about the real celebrities, which are the Americans who deserve your attention, or at least a couple of them. You ever heard of a little lady named Emma Carroll?
No, I never have.
Well, she's notable. She died in 2007, which is
I'm sorry.
Her fault. But she was 112 years old at the time. She was born in 1895, and she was the oldest person to be a balloonist at 109.
Awesome.
I know. Like people, I hear this a lot. I was thinking about this online, IRL, as the kids say, on the TV. People think they're old way, way before they're actually old now.
True.
People are like, oh, I'm 27. Mm-hmm. I had a guy literally in the gym one time. He told me he was too old to start rock climbing, and I kid you not, he was like 27. People really believe that when they grow up and get a job, they're suddenly too old to learn anything or do anything.
Right.
They think life it's insane. They think life stops after college or something. I guess because there are no movies telling them what to do with their life now.
Yeah, I guess it's all the protagonists are in their 20s.
All the protagonists are in their 20s, and so when you don't have a movie to go off of anymore in our society, you sort of fall apart. We need, yeah. Today I'll spoil it for you. We're going to talk about hashtag free Britney.
Oh no.
Hashtag free.
That's going to be great.
Free Britney. And I was thinking about why, because Britney has been unfree for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
As many of our listeners are probably aware. This show is hopefully going to draw in some more female listenership. Right? Because we're going to need them to like churn butter on the homestead or whatever.
Yeah, we will.
But all of our female listeners are probably aware of Free Britney. And Gorba the Greek is definitely aware of Free Britney because he has the sparkly shoes. But why was she? Because she recently said something that she was under her conditions. She's not allowed legally to make medical decisions for herself, and she has an intrauterine device put in to prevent pregnancy,
mm-hmm.
and she's not allowed to have it removed. And this was what sparked the recent wave of hashtag Free Britney, although that's been going on since like 2009. But this because women have been programmed to think that they are in a Handmaid's Tale or on the verge of it
mm-hmm.
by the movie, right? And the fact that she was, I don't know, forced to take lithium before,
Ooh.
that didn't spur any outrage.
Yeah.
Because there's not a movie about women being forced to take lithium. And because there's not a movie about it, our dumb society doesn't know what to do. We're just like, that doesn't sound good, but I don't have a movie showing me how I should react.
We need Robin Williams leading a class of high school students to liberate Britney.
We do.
Yeah.
And they're just like, if you don't have the movie about it, like if you don't have the movie about how to live your life after you're 27, people are like, I don't know what I do. I guess the only role models they have on TV, I guess, are like the people that are in The Office, the show The Office, or the bumbling dad on TV,
yeah.
or the mom on TV that is drunk all the time and doesn't like her children or whatever. And that's like what we do. That's just like, they're like, well, that's what we do. And we gotta give people movies because they're like, I'm 27, I'm too old to do something different. And then Emma got out here and she was like, no, 109, I'm still hot air ballooning. You know?
Mm.
And she holds the Guinness Book of World Records for that. And guys, the 120 is not out of the question. It's not. If you keep yourself like healthy, in shape, you think good thoughts, you avoid doing evil as much as reasonably possible. You can hit 60 and be like, it's basically halfway. Emma almost got there. She almost got to 120, you know? And our culture like pedestalizes youth so much, you know, and youth is good. I'm not negging on it, you know, it's fine. But our culture is only about being youth and being young with no reverence for like age and the elderly at all, like zero. So you see people saying they're old and they're like 28, you know. And I guess I sort of get that. I mean, if you stop doing things and you just go to work, come home, watch TV, go to work, come home, watch TV, then I guess.
Yeah, I'd probably feel like I'm starting to die also.
Yeah, but you know, that's not necessary.
And the funny thing is, guys our age are doing that.
I know, that's what I'm saying. They're like 27, and then it's like, it's over. It's over. You know, I think a lot of guys really had their hopes up that they would be professional athletes, and then when it didn't occur, they just give up. I think that's part of it, maybe.
Yeah.
Or which
sit around listening to John Mellencamp.
Yeah.
Glory days.
In the summer of 69.
Yep. You can't let it go.
And he sings that in like the summer of 71. It's the summer.
Yeah. It's like, bro, you're like 25.
Yeah, like just it's not, I mean, yeah. But just remember Emma, 109. She's still out there doing it. You could break that world record if you want. Get you a balloon, find a really old person, take them up in the balloon, and then you beat Emma as the oldest person to fly in a hot air balloon. You know? Or yeah, I really think it's a psyop to get people to like just give up early.
Yeah.
I really do. Like, it's just like okay, another balloon. Like, there's another guy. Well, first of all, there was a ballooning guy named Steve Fawcett in 2002. He was American, and he circumnavigated the world in his balloon in only 13 days, in 12 hours.
Wow.
Yeah, and he was like 45 at the time. So, but then in 2016, he was beaten by an even older gentleman who was 65 at the time. And his name, he was a Russian, unfortunately. The American no longer holds the title. That's something that maps can try to get back. Circumnavigation of the globe.
Can you do this in a regular hot air balloon if you just have enough gear, or do you need a special one?
It needs to be a little specialized. I mean, what they do is they'll put a helium bladder inside the regular hot air space.
Okay.
So it'll be hybrid hot air helium. So it's a little, but it's not super it's a balloon.
Right.
So that's what they'll do. But this Russian Orthodox priest, actually from Russia, named Fedor, I could never do his last name right, but I follow him a lot. Kaniakov, Fedor Kaniakov. He beat it at age 65.
Awesome.
He went around the world in 11 days and so many hours in a balloon. And he currently has plans, even though he's right now at 70 years old, about to be 71. He's gonna try to take a balloon into the stratosphere.
Oh, awesome.
Which is 31 miles high, which is insane. That's a very, very tall. But maybe one of our Maps listeners, maybe Bannister, can beat him there.
Do it, bro.
Maybe the Free Mexican Air Force can get there, and maybe while they're up there, they could tell us what shape the Earth looks like.
Yeah, I guess we could have, in-group confirmation of round Earth.
We could have in-group confirmation of round Earth that we keep private,
Mm-hmm.
But that Fedor guy, he's so cool. I followed him for years. He's, maybe he should be like our mascot. He's done the ballooning stuff. He did the Iditarod. He led a dog sled expedition to the North Pole, crossing the frozen ocean. He rode across the Atlantic one time.
Mm-hmm.
He did a solo circumnavigation of Antarctica. I think he was the first person in history to do that. And he's also the only person known now or ever to have been to what they call the three extremes. He's been to the North Pole, the South Pole, and the top of Mount Everest. So talk about like an adventurer.
Man.
That guy, and he's still going, and he's like 71, and he did all of his feats after like age 40 at least.
How did he get permission to go to the South Pole? I thought like the military would shoot you.
That's the thing. It's a little bit fake.
Oh.
I mean, I don't want to take it away from, but they say the South Pole is this one place, and then the real South Pole is further. I don't want to get into the whole Antarctica thing.
Okay.
Like, his circumnavigation of Antarctica is a bit sketchy, and not because he's lying. But what they do here, okay, let's.
No, I don't want to derail us.
Listen. We have to address this.
Okay.
People claim to circumnavigate Antarctica, right?
Mm-hmm.
They claim to do it, and I'm not saying they're not, but when you look at their actual route, what they're doing is they're like hopping around the very tips of all the southern continents. So they'll sail from like the very tip of South America toward Antarctica, right?
Mm-hmm.
And they'll touch the Horn of Africa at the bottom.
Mm-hmm.
And then they'll touch like the bottom of Australia and the bottom of New Zealand, and then back around to South America.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
Now that would technically, on the standard model of the shape of the Earth, which again, this is not a Flat Earth podcast, I'm just saying, would be a circumnavigation of Antarctica, however, that's not what most people have in their heads when they think about a circumnavigate. They think of something much closer to the coast.
Right.
Because technically, then, if you're going to call that, then any going around the globe is a circumnavigation of Antarctica. Right? Because you're going around it.
Yes.
Like at some point. Okay, but here's the problem. You know how? Guess what the world record is for sailing around the world. Speed in number of days.
Oh man, I don't know. Like a month?
It's like 40 days, yeah.
Okay.
Like 40 days. Okay, but if you're going to do that at the bottom and it's like a globe and not like the middle, shouldn't it be a shorter trip?
Should be much shorter, yes.
Should be much shorter, but it took Fedor over 1,000 days. I think it was 1,100 something days.
What?
And he remembered he said it, he stopped, he got to the end and he said it was much harder than I anticipated. Maybe I'm just getting old. Or Fedor, maybe you're sailing around a bigger ring. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. I'm not claiming anything. Right? I don't want to be that show.
Don't be that show.
But why does it take people longer to sail around Antarctica than it does around the equator? Going through the Panama Canal and stuff. It doesn't. I mean, maybe the sea is just that much more rough there, but he's not like going through packed ice. Like there's probably icebergs down there at that level, but he's not like.
I mean, when you're circumnavigating at the equator, aren't you traveling more overland, and therefore would be able to make up a lot of time?
Well, you know what they do is by boat.
Right, but you still have to cross the continents. Or does or is that time not counted as?
No, you don't cross the continents. What are you talking about? You go through the canals, the Suez Canal and the Panama Canal.
Okay, yeah, okay.
That's what they're for.
I thought
and that's
maybe
why when an Arabic woman accidentally drives hers into the side of the canal, it creates a big problem.
Right.
She's like, and then everyone's like, well, no one tell them who the driver was. Because that'll be awkward. Which is what they did. Because they're like, well, if we mention it's a late, but so that takes like 40 days. And then this one, for some reason, took like over 1,000. I'm just saying,
it's a little weird.
It's a little weird, isn't it? It's a little weird. I'm not saying the earth is flat. I'm just saying it's a little weird. Anyway, so if that's Fedor, maybe we should have him on the show and discuss. If he goes up to the stratosphere, I feel like he'll start putting two and two together.
Mm-hmm.
And he'll be like when he's up there breathing into his little mask.
Yeah.
Looks flat. Why did it take me so long to go around Antarctica? And he'll just start having revelations up there. That's how the first flat earther was born, in my imagination.
Okay. Just in a hot air balloon.
Well, yeah, I mean, you go up high. We used to do. I'm just saying, I understand why people feel, because we used to do weather balloons, mm-hmm. And we put little science experiments on a weather balloon.
Yep.
And we'd shoot it up real high. I mean, when you got the camera back, it looked from the camera like you were on the edge of space. Like you'd see like the black.
Mm-hmm.
And it still looked flat. I don't know what to tell you. It still looked flat. Like you get the pictures back, and then you're also like, well, wait, if it's up there that high, sort of almost out of the atmosphere, shouldn't we have like spun away from it or something? Why did it come back down like only 15 miles away? I don't know. I'm just saying. You're making this turn into a flat Earth podcast. It's your fault.
I did. It's my fault.
I mean, I'm just saying, if it goes up that high and we're spinning at 1,000 miles an hour,
yeah.
At some point, shouldn't it like stop? Because then you're in the outside of even the air that should be pushing you, really. And then it comes. I know it's got momentum and stuff, but it feels like it should decouple from our reference frame a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
And we should just, or, if the Earth is, never mind. We don't need to get into this. Why are you making this happen?
I'm sorry.
Why are you making me talk about if the Earth is spinning like they say, and then if you're at the equator, it's going 1,000 miles an hour, but if you're at the North Pole, it's only going like 10 miles an hour, right? Because it's a lot less out from the center. This
is really a giant production mistake on my part.
I know. And if you fly from the North Pole to the equator, or like you fly north to south from the North Pole, like you fly from Sweden down, why don't you experience the Earth rapidly accelerating beneath you as you go from 10 miles an hour to like 1,000 miles an hour in spin? Why doesn't that happen?
All I know is that I'm sorry for making you say this.
I know you should be. I didn't want to talk about this. I didn't want to red pill people this hard this early.
Mea culpa.
The Earth is not flat, guys. Just don't go there. But the Free Mexican Air Force will solve a lot of these problems. They'll solve a lot of these issues. I was I unfortunately had to go to Florida not long ago.
Oh man.
Actually, not unfortunately. I went on purpose this time.
Okay.
I went with Suplex and his family, and it was lovely.
Right on.
And I was just again struck. Well, I saw a very large couple of alligators, and it struck me of the psychosexual connection that Florida has with Australia. Because they have the similar. And then I was thinking about Steve Irwin, and I made a nice little nice list companion piece podcast about Steve Irwin.
Oh, cool!
That is available now, and I was going to take that moment to tell people about. Before we get into the main thing of the show, I'm supposed to tell you again. Please do one of three things: leave us a review, share the show with a friend, or join the nice list and support us financially.
Yeah, you should do that.
That's the commercial. Join the nice list, support us financially. Leave a review if you like the show on your favorite podcasting platform, or share the show with a friend.
If you don't do one of those three things, you have zero shot of being accepted into the Free Mexican Air Force.
No, you can still get in.
No, I will. Okay. I will have them whacked.
Yeah, but you. But down there, because we were looking, and then the ocean also looks flat. Everywhere you go, like, why can't you see any? This is not a flat Earth show. I'm just saying. But okay, so free Britney, hashtag free Britney. This has got all the mommy bloggers in a total tizzy, right?
Yes.
And it's been called a real life Black Mirror episode. And I think it was actually used as source material for an actual Black Mirror episode. I think one with Miley Cyrus, actually.
So I don't really know the background on Britney's situation.
You don't?
Yeah, and I bet some of our listeners are also lacking in this knowledge. So maybe, could we start with some background?
Sure. So, she was a singer.
Yes.
How much do you know about Britney Spears?
Disney person from a young age, performer with Disney, correct. Became pop star.
Correct and correct. And
apparently had some personal troubles. And that's the extent of my knowledge about Britney Spears.
Okay, so quick overview of the situation. I would say is Britney Spears, it girl of the pop music scene in the late 90s, early aughts. Singer of memorable hits such as Hit Me Baby One More Time and Oops, I Did It Again. Currently is being held as a quasi-legal slave by her father, who at the time of this show is getting about $200,000 a year in salary for doing so. That's the Cliff Notes.
Wow.
Yeah. So, okay. You'll probably not be surprised by this, listeners, if you've been listening to this show for a while. But in Hollywood and the music industry, sometimes people sell their children into slavery for money. This is a theme we've explored And sometimes not even in Hollywood, sometimes just in the wider world. We've explored this tangentially before in the show. Like, for instance, Michael Jackson's father did similar things when he, of course, chemically castrated Michael Jackson so that he wouldn't go through puberty and lose his high singing voice.
Mm-hmm.
You know, a lot of people don't know that allegedly happened, that Joe Jackson allegedly did that, but Michael Jackson's doctor claimed that that's what happened, which is probably why Michael Jackson was so messed up.
Yeah.
In life, and he had this Never Land ranch
where you never grow up.
Where you never grow up.
Peter Pan. I mean, that would really, like, he would resonate with a Peter Pan character if he was indeed chemically castrated to stay young.
Yeah. And that would explain maybe some of his weird surgical options. Also, he's not dead, by the way. he showed up on Instagram like 6 months ago. I was there. I saw it. He gave a live stream and then he disappeared. I don't know what happened. It looked just like him, though, like an aged Michael Jackson. I don't know. But then, okay, so you got that. Or for that matter, Miley Cyrus, who I already talked about, sort of did the Black Mirror episode that was spoofing the Free Britney thing. Her father, Billy Ray, turned her over to the beast that is Disney, so it could chew her up and spit her out into like a lewd grotesquerie.
Yep.
You know, she used to be very pretty and like normal looking.
Yeah.
And then it was like, just vomited her out.
Yeah, she's a nightmare. Cyrus,
yeah. His achy breaky heart did not prevent that. Or perhaps Leonardo DiCaprio, who allegedly, maybe, there seems to be good reason to think so, although I admit I can't slam up prove it, seems to have been sexually abused by people working on the set of Growing Pains in the early 90s, and his parents did nothing because of money. You know, the special effects guy, the director, and the producer, I believe, of that show were all convicted sex offenders / pedophiles.
Ew.
Pretty sure. There was one of them, definitely Brian Peck. He was the special effects guy. Well, he wore a lot of different hats, you know, of the show. He still is. He's very weird, very strange. And there are videos of a young Leonardo with Brian Peck that's very... they're sort of oddly touchy with each other.
Oh, man.
DiCaprio occasionally breaks into like a lisp when he's talking, like sort of like the stereotypical 90s gay lisp. And he's been sort of conditioned to act like a girl. Like it's a strange video.
Oh no.
It's very upsetting, but when you first look at it, you think maybe Leonardo's just being silly, and then you realize, oh, Brian Peck was convicted of I think the charge was like sodomy of a person under 16.
Oh man.
There was one that was like sexual penetration with a foreign object. There was just all these. He was convicted on like 11 or something, or at least he was charged on like 11 or 12 counts or something. And he got convicted on some of them. And then Nickelodeon still hired him. And so did Disney.
Nickelodeon is so evil, dude.
Yeah, to work with their kids on their kid shows uninterrupted for several hours a day with no oversight. After he was convicted for these things, in a court of law, he was still hired by children's networks to work on the sets with children. And he's not the only one that's happened to. If you, in fact, that may be a condition for getting on at Nickelodeon, is you have to be a convicted sex offender.
Did you see the Blue's Clues thing with the drag queen?
Yeah, they love that. Like, and you have to. These people are just pedophiles. You have to just go ahead and call them pedophiles. Like, people are like, oh, but you didn't see that. Like, you don't. If the standard is you have to catch them in the act, then you're not going to catch very many, right? But if you're sexualizing children in any way,
yeah,
heterosexual, homosexual, whatever, children should not be sexualized or taught about sexuality. If you're doing that in any way, you're just a pedophile, right? There's no reason for a 5-year-old to know anything about sexuality.
There's
At
no
all.
yeah. If you're like trying to normalize the idea of mutilating your body to children, like the Blue's Clues producers did,
Yeah. You're a pedophile.
You're a pedophile. You need to be in
It
prison.
doesn't matter if you
Like,
actually
that's
had sex
disgusting.
with a kid or not. You're doing the
Right.
same. It's the same thing.
And the whole
Right.
Nickelodeon network needs to be investigated and shut down. I mean, that's just disgusting. If we as a society can't deal with that, then we're done. If we don't have a
we as
mechanism to
society
deal
can't
with that,
deal with that.
yeah,
America can't deal with that.
right. Like if that just
so-
is allowed to continue, I'm
Yeah.
sorry, it's terminal. We're not going to make it.
It's not gonna. But that is. You don't. Yeah. Just call them what they are. People that try to introduce sexuality of any kind to anyone like under puberty
Yeah.
is just they're just pedophilia by a different stripe. But yeah, but DiCaprio had to work around these people for like 10 hours a day as a child. And his dad wasn't in his life because his parents divorced and he didn't care. And then his mother just fed him to the wolves for money, which is what has happened to there's nothing new under the sun. You know, people have been selling their kids into slavery since the dawn of time. But the problem in our time is that at least people used to know that was happening.
Right.
People in America are they're too. Some of them are just too good for this world. You know, like oh, there's a good example. You know, when I hang out with people, I often make them mad.
I can't imagine.
I don't do this on purpose. It's in my nature. And this, when we were hanging out this past couple of days, weeks, I wouldn't say mad, but I made Suplex's wife frustrated, which is pretty good for me if I just make someone frustrated.
Yeah.
And not like angry. Because I said, I don't know why stolen valor is a big deal. You know, and I don't. People get all bent out of shape if you pretend to be. I was like, because I don't know, like if I walked around pretending that I was a Green Beret that had served in Iraq, why does that bother anyone? I know I'm being autistic here, but I don't see why that is a big deal. Do you know why is that a big deal?
I mean, you're highlighting the fact that military and police have become their own like special interest race group sort of entity. It's like being a minority for white people is to be
That's
military,
true.
police, or a
It
few
gives
other
you
things.
It gives you special. Now, I mean, she brought up because she has family members that they like sacrifice for the country, and or at least I mean, you can be like, well, they're not really, but they think they are.
But it's like
They
on
believe they are.
an individual basis, sure. If somebody did something heroic, and you were to say, no,
Right.
you didn't do that heroic thing, I actually did it. That's really stealing someone's earned valor. But to try to groupify everything and turn yourself into a protected class, I think they're falling for a kind of a dumb trap there.
Right. That's how I feel about it too. But this makes people upset, and I very well be wrong, and they very well may be right. But I didn't understand why. I still don't, like if I pretended to be. If I walked around saying I was a firefighter that got people out of 9/11, I don't know. I guess firefighters would be upset, but I wouldn't.
Somebody that actually did that, it doesn't take away anything from them that you say you also did that. Like they know it's a lie. It doesn't take away any of their valor. It doesn't do anything. But if all your pride is wrapped up in your membership of a group, the value of the group is partly based on who you can exclude from it. And so if your ability to exclude people from the group is being threatened, that then threatens your own sense of importance.
Yeah, maybe that's it. And maybe I should just tell people that I was a firefighter at 9/11.
Because what you're doing is you're by declaring yourself part of the group, you're taking control over the admissions standard. You're wresting control of that away from its members. So that's why they don't like it. It's not really about the valor. Because if you did something heroic, you did something heroic. Nobody can take that away from you.
Yeah, and so I think that is but my point in that is that, like, Suplex's wife is too good for this world and this country. She's an extremely good lady, and I think that she is unable to. And if she's listening to this is, I was thinking about that. I think she's unable to. I think the levels of evil that other people are capable of are so foreign. I think that's one of the troubles that we have in the conspiracy space of getting this stuff to light. Is that like the idea? I think Suplex is she is such a good person that the idea, the depths of evil. Like, she knows, she's not naive. Like, she knows that people can be evil.
Right.
But I think people that are that good they have difficulty imagining that could be anywhere near normal. Like she probably imagines, and I think that she's in the average here, that the majority of people are not, they may be bad, they may be, they may not like perfect, but I think it's difficult for a lot of people that are that good to imagine just how bad and evil the average can be, because a lot of people in America are just that good and that, like, wholesome. And I am not that good and that wholesome, which is why I can sort of see how bad it can get,
Yep.
And which is why I try to occupy this middle space, because there's so much of America is these really good people that they give you anything if you needed it. They like respectful to everyone. They're always not, and that's so much of America. But they can't, like, being like, listen, Nickelodeon, Disney used to and still do hire registered child sex offenders to be around children all day, and the legal system totally covers for them all the time.
Yep.
Because of money and people selling their children into basically slavery and sex slavery in exchange for money. And I think that a lot of people, they hear that and they're like, that couldn't happen. Like, there's not that many bad people that someone wouldn't stop it. And that's the hardest part of the conspiracy chain to get across to people, is just like, no, they're really that bad. Like, it's bad. People started wars for nothing, for money. And she's right. Like, she's right that the people doing it often think that they're doing it for a good reason, like the people going into the military and stuff.
Yeah, for sure.
Now, some of them don't. Some of them are just after college funds, But objectively, like, we got into Iraq didn't have anything to do with 9/11. We just went and attacked them for no reason, for heroin fields. And when you tell people, like, no, there actually was no reason, people get upset, because that can't be, because that would mean there's a level of evil that is very, very uncomfortable.
Yeah.
To admit to.
It's painful to
it's painful, and
believe it.
Yeah, and the only reason that I can see it is that I'm not one of these super wholesome good people by nature. You know, like, and I can see like why, like how people could be that evil, you know? And so when you tell people like, listen, Leonardo DiCaprio was probably sexually abused for like a decade as a young child. That's why he's never formed any lasting relationship now. He has no kids. He's always rotating between girlfriends and dumping them as soon as they turn 25. That's why Michael Jackson had Neverland, because he was chemically... And everyone knew it. Everyone around him knew that happened to him. And they did nothing. And they said nothing. And everyone knew about... Epstein and all these people. The fact that everyone knew and that no one did anything is very hard for a lot of people to accept.
Yeah.
And but anyway, the Free Britney movement is it's another thing that's really hard for, and that's why I like it. That's why I want to talk about it, because the Free Britney movement is at least, I think, to like, because I will bring up mommy bloggers sometimes in a fun way, but they're largely that section of America that's very, very good, in that they don't want, they can't imagine the depths of evil, but this is a nice entry into that for them. You know, like this is a nice entry into that for them. And because you bring it like, listen, Britney Spears' father is basically holding her as a slave, and the American legal system is 100% on board with it, and really none of your outrage is going to do anything. That is a red pill for people. Like, that shows people like, wait a minute, what's happening? Because people think that being outraged and having hashtags on the internet does anything. And it doesn't. And they think this because the powers that be manufacture hashtags and outrage to cover what they're going to do anyway.
Yep.
And people think that it's organic, and that people think that it's organic, and that they're the cause instead of the effect. Right? But like the Black Lives Matter thing, they wanted to riot and cause racial tensions. So then they wanted to create that, and the effect was the Black Lives Matter hashtags and the riots and all that. Right? That wasn't the cause of the political change. The political change was the cause, and then they were the effect down the chain. Which is why it dried up instantly after the election was over. Yep. Because we're done with you now, you know? And people have so much trouble because, again, they're good believing that is not organic and that people are being manipulated on that level.
The same thing with the election itself. You know, obviously fraudulent. Okay.
Yeah.
Giant amounts of fraud. How are you gonna keep a lid on that? If you don't do anything, right? If the winners just tried to cover everything up and shut everybody up that wanted to talk about it, there would be genuine outrage and a real investigation eventually. Like, I don't think people would just stand for it. So what do? You give them fake outrage, and you give them fake investigations that exhaust you thinking they're going somewhere, and then they end up going nowhere.
Yeah.
And this is what happens with everything, with every outrage. You just get the fake outrage and the fake investigations as a pressure relief valve so you don't get the real ones.
Yeah.
And we fall for it every time as a population.
Yeah, and I think people are maybe beginning to wake up to that. But see, what I hope will happen with the Free Britney thing, hashtag Free Britney, is that people will realize their outrage doesn't do anything if the powers that be didn't want it to happen already.
Yes.
It will literally go nowhere. You can be outraged as much as you want on the internet, on Twitter, on Facebook. You can make all the memes you want to. You can do all of that. It will do nothing. I don't think Britney will, quote unquote, get free at all. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe she will. I don't think that this is doing, because people have been doing hashtag Free Britney, like I said, since 2009.
What's her actual legal situation? Like, fill me in on a couple of details.
Okay, so she is in what's called a conservatorship.
Okay.
All right, so a little bit more like so Spears. Again, these are the sort of parents that they pimp their children out for money. They had her performing at age 4.
Mm-hmm.
4 is not when you make a decision to do something yourself. 4 is when your parents force it on you. Why? I don't. Maybe the mom was trying to live vicariously through her daughter by having her go to pageants and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. But 4. She had her own agent at 8, right? And then the rest, everyone sort of knows her when she was a teenager and sort of blew up. But so at 27 years old, Britney was involuntarily committed to a rehab and psychiatric hospitals. And this event led to her being what is put into what is called a conservatorship. Okay, so a conservatorship is a legal concept in the United States in which someone is deemed to be unable to manage their own financial affairs or even their just daily life due to physical or mental limitations.
Mm-hmm.
And the judge appoints a guardian or a protector over the person to make these sorts of decisions for them, right? So this legal scheme itself is not bad. Like, this is it's meant for, like, okay, grandma has Alzheimer's. She can no longer make sound decisions with her finances or her medical care, right? So next of kin, if you're willing to do so, is appointed as conservator over this person, and they run their finances and make decisions for them. Like, sort of like a legal guardian. Okay? That's what it's for. It's not generally for someone that's like 27 at the time. But Britney's been under this conservatorship since 2008, 13 years now. And in that time, she has earned, some years, well over $10 million. She's in a couple of years, maybe over 30 million by some estimates. One year, a big year, over 100 million, as some people guess. It's hard to know. We don't know her finances exactly, but a lot. And that means that since 2008, she's had no access to or control over any of that money, nor even her own financial medical decisions. These decisions and assets rest rather with her father, who's her designated conservator, who is also her allocated lawyer.
Whoa.
Seems like a conflict of interest.
Man, yeah.
I don't know. And his name is Jamie Spears, the dad. Okay. He doesn't seem to be a good man. Well, again, we know he's not. Because he was fine with his daughter getting up when she was like 17 or 18 and becoming like a sex slut symbol for money. Like, he's not a good person. And people now, they're like trying to say, like, oh, you don't, women's empowerment, like as if any father being upset that his daughter would be sort of gyrating on national television is a problem. Like, he's the bad guy if he were to do that, right? But but that sort of guy that does that and is fine with it is not a good person. They are selling their children for money and fame.
Yep.
We know he's not a good person. And we have further evidence he's not a good person because allegedly, again, like in 2019, allegedly, this is what people have tried to get police to get on him for. He physically assaulted Britney's 13-year-old son. Whether he did or not, I can't say, but I do know that her son on Instagram recorded a video in which he said his grandfather was pretty bleep and that he could, quote, go die. So, not a guy with a good family relationship at the moment.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And then, like, And I guess the theme of this show is going to be like, is the money worth it? Like, I want to reiterate to people really need to hear this in our day of age because it's so wrapped up in money. But money does not equal freedom. They're not the same thing. There's freedom and there's money. Money can be used to acquire freedom, right? But depending on how you get the money, it can be the biggest noose around your neck in the world. And this is what's happened to so many celebrities and politicians and people like I am in many senses more free than Jeff Bezos. Jeff Bezos can't have a podcast where he gets up here and calls things fake and gay. The whole world would attack him.
True.
And try to take away he would lose his, they're like, oh, you're billions of, and they can take it away, trust me. Your billions of dollars, your top, it's going to be gone if you say something true. And he's like, well, okay, then I'll just pretend I'm going to space. Which I think has still not happened. I will just like the Clintons and like Obama and like George W. Bush and like Trump pretend I'm going to have a moon mission in a few years, which never occurs.
Yep.
It never happens, but we're just going to pretend. And like these people, this is why they get so into drugs. This is why they get, because when your life is wrapped up in that and your security, then when someone threatens to take it away, you just do whatever. It's a big noose around your neck. So this conservatorship, it grants him apparently so much control over Britney's life. Britney cannot legally drive a car. She cannot legally get married. She cannot vote. She cannot make her own medical decisions, and she cannot hire her own legal representatives. And how they justify all this, his camp, he claims that the critics of her conservatorship, the Free Britney mommy bloggers, they just don't grasp how seriously mentally ill Britney is. And the claim is that without this conservatorship, Britney would have blown through all her money, gotten strung out on drugs, maybe overdosed, maybe died, right?
Right.
Okay, but at the same time, she's been deemed unfit to do basic life functions. She's been deemed fit enough to go back on tour several times, have a standing show for several years in Las Vegas, and continue to produce albums. In fact, until
shouldn't she be in like a rest home or something if she's that incapacitated?
Exactly. Until 2019, she made a new album about once every 2 years, just boom, 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 the whole time. And all this money produced from this work is just going to her father. She's not allowed to use any of it or decide where it goes. She gets like a stipend from it, but that can be changed sort of at will. And her claim in her own statements is that her legal team apparently have the power to sue her from her own estate if she doesn't perform.
Whoa.
How this is possible, I don't know. But that's the claim. And again, like, Britney is being held primarily by fear. Yes, there's legal things involved, but you're always held primarily by fear, because at any point she could just not do it. Like, and they said, well, we're going to sue you. Like, okay, sue me. Then what happens? You take my money, whatever. Bye.
Yeah.
The cash cow would dry up instantly, and then this would the fangs of these leeches would come out because there'd be no more blood flow. And unless you're willing to be like, oh, you're going to take all my money, whatever. You have to, if you want to be truly free in this life and not, you have to be willing to burn $1 billion Joker style on the table. And just, whoosh, right? Like, you don't, like, if you're going to use money, like, you have to, money isn't inherently bad. You have to use it to do life things. It's fine. But to be in fear of losing it, or to let other people to lead you around the nose by this fear. Again, as I've mentioned before on Maps, throw your money off a bridge. This is one of the best spiritual practices you can ever do. Drive over a bridge, take $20, throw it over the bridge. Just $20. And it's amazing how people can't do that. They get like so attached to like they because it's like this. Like you tell people, throw away $5, the people get like they look at you like you're insane.
I wonder how many of our long-term listeners actually did that.
Probably zero, and you need to do it because first of all, you throw away money all the time anyway on like a dumb special hamburger or something.
Yep.
But people get something in return for it, so they feel like just throwing it away and treating it like garbage. What you're doing is you're buying freedom by throwing it away, because you're just think of it that way, because you're saying this doesn't have a hold on me. Yes, I can use it, but I will use it. It won't use me. And you just throw it away. It is one of the most powerful things you can do in your life is to occasionally take some money and light it on fire. It doesn't have to be much. Just the symbolic action of doing so will set you more free than anything else you can do. So that's why I highly, highly doubt Britney is going to, quote, get free, because people on social media get mad about it. That's not how it works. The system, the beast, Babylon, does not care if you're upset. It only cares about money. That's like the only way to get free of that system is to have no attachment to it. That's the only way out for you and me. It's the only way out for Britney. Like I said, Jeff Bezos or Mark Zuckerberg or Elon Musk, they may have billions. They may pretend to be going into space. But they can't have a radio program and go, I think something's a little screwed with our society. And even that, they wouldn't be, they can't be like, hey, isn't it weird we started like making eunuchs again and worshiping black bodies from Louis Farrakhan's mother wheel? They don't, like, that wouldn't fly.
Yeah.
And their actions in many ways are far more restricted than yours or mine, And this is why Diogenes was the greatest philosopher. Are you familiar?
I mean, with the name, I haven't read him.
Well, he didn't write very much because he was a Giga Chad that didn't believe in literacy.
Sweet.
But he was, Diogenes was around at the same time Aristotle, Plato, and all those guys, and he was famous for living in a pot outside the Athens city, in a giant pot. But the most famous story about him, well, there's two. Now, this is a guy who really was not controllable. Was that Alexander came to town, Alexander the Great, and Diogenes, he came to see Diogenes because he'd heard about this weird philosopher and he wanted to, Alexander was a student of Aristotle and he liked knowledge. And he's looking for him and he comes to town and they say, where's the great Diogenes? And they point him over to the garbage heap. And Diogenes is out there digging through like the carcasses and bones. And Alexander comes and says, sir, what are you doing? And Diogenes looks up. He's done this on purpose. He looks up and he says, I'm looking for the bones of your father, but I can't distinguish them from the bones of his slaves. And he says this to Alexander the Great, who's like conquering the whole world. And Alexander's like, okay, this guy's got a little cheeky, And they talk for a while. And Alexander, at the end of their discussion, he stands up and he says, he's so impressed with him, he says, ask me anything you want up to half my empire and I'll give it to you. And Diogenes replies, I would like you to move. You're blocking my sun. And that's what he got. And Diogenes was the most, he was, because like half the world, Diogenes just wanted some sun. That sort of person is the true free man. Because he cannot be controlled by these out, because Diogenes had half the world anyway. He could go the whole world and no one was trying to kill him and he didn't have to kill anybody. Like he would already travel places and like, hello, here I am. I'm not involved in a war here. I'm just visiting, Whereas Alexander, when he wanted to go places, he had to slaughter people and risk being slaughtered. Because he was on this different path. So, most people choose the path of Alexander because money is such a big draw. But the real way is the path of Diogenes. Okay. Anyway, so like I said, the claim in the father's camp is that Britney's unable to make decisions, but this is sketchy because she's mentally able to work and continue to produce millions of dollars. So how did this come to be? Like I said, we know her father's not a good guy because he was okay with her getting up like a slutty schoolgirl for the whole world. That's all that female empowerment stuff is just excuses for people to pimp women. Yep. It's all it's ever been. It's just a rhetorical cover for the sexual exploitation of women. And the fact that this man, Jamie Spears, was not instantly ostracized by everyone he ever knew for what he allowed his daughter to do is just a stain on the people of America. And again, it goes back to people are just, they wouldn't do that to their kids, and so they can't imagine that that's what's happening to other people. Yeah. Yep. Because most of America, like I say, is very good people, but I don't know how to get across to that portion that there's another big portion that is so bad it's hard to imagine. Well, your level of credulity is based around your personal experience, and most people's personal experience is based around their character. Yeah, yes. And I think one of the only ways to do this is you have to be exposed to evil people, which is dangerous. Yeah. Like, that's the only way to really... I don't know, it's a big problem. It's a big problem is how to get people to see how bad the world can be. But anyway, so after her teenage years through early 20s, she was used as a sex symbol, right? And then in 2007, she had a quote-unquote mental breakdown and shaved her head. Why does she do this? Obviously to make herself uglier. That's the only reason women do that. Mm-hmm. Like, women's hair is very powerful. It's one of the most seductive things about a woman. And they know that. And so when they shave, like we said in the Nephilim show, it's tempting enough for angels. That's why they spend so much time on their hair. Yep. That's why women's hair, a woman's hair is one of the most powerful outward things about her. It's one of the ways she can have the most effect on the world, the most impact on other people, men and women alike. That's why it's like a bazillion-dollar industry, women's hair care. Mm-hmm. And so when women shave their head, or they dye it blue or purple, same reason they get tattoos and piercings and so on, in almost all cases, it's to reduce their sexual desirability. Because they've been sexually abused or preyed upon, and so they're trying to be like, well, stop. I'm not pretty anymore. Right, yeah. That's why all these girls are doing this these days, because people grew up in divorced homes and they were abused by people that weren't their dads. In some cases, their dads, granted. But when you have rotating men through a single mom's house, mm-hmm. It gets to be a problem. Yep. And well, when Britney shaved her head, one of the people around her at the time was reported. They said that Britney said, "I just wish they'd stop touching me." And see, women are vulnerable. Like, this women empowerment stuff is just a way for people to get other people to shirk their responsibility of protecting women and trick women into putting themselves into vulnerable positions so they can be preyed upon. Yeah, it tricks women into putting themselves in vulnerable positions and shames men into their natural desire to protect women. Yeah, like, wherever women go, a not small percentage of the people around them want to try and be inside them, and will attempt to do so by, thankfully, usually mostly legal means, but sometimes by illegal means, like rape and so on. Mm-hmm. And that's why women are like afraid to walk in a parking lot at night, for good reason. And so when fathers abandon their duty in mass, as our culture has done, of protecting their daughters, you get a lot of purple hair, a lot of piercings, a lot of shaved head, and a lot of Britney Spears stuff. And by the way, a lot of justified man-hating. All this man-hating stuff, screaming about the patriarchy and whatnot, most of that is women mad they weren't protected. Yeah. And they're like, why? That they don't know that's what it is sometimes, but that's a lot of what it is. Like I saw this there was a college, these college marches where these women get upset. Yeah. And they were marching around, and she was talking about the patriarchy. And this one guy she was approached, and he said, he just looked at her and he said, "This is obviously an expression of an issue you have with your father." And she looked at him for like 3 seconds, and she went, "Ah!" Just scream because he hit the nail on the head. Yeah, yeah. Like if he started arguing with her about theory and like women's feminism theory, she'd have been like, "Yeah, but he's just said you have a deep issue with your father," and she was like, lost her mind because it was true. Yep. And she didn't know how to handle that. And so, and with like Britney Spears, men are so weak now. They see a teenage girl dressed up like a whore, danced around on MTV, and they think, yeah, that's fine. If you do that, you deserve to be conquered by Muslims. Islam would be better for women. These people that are like, Islam's like, well, what are you doing? Yeah. What are you doing, buddy? Like, the Muslims are like, well, at least, I mean, the whole covering them in a sheet is probably a little too far. But at least they don't just allow their daughters to be publicly turned into sex objects. Yep.
There's a lot of dads out there that do not like what their daughters wear to school, but say nothing about it. Yeah. And they let the pressure of society turn their daughters into whores.
I've been so upset by people succumbing to peer pressure lately. Like people do it in a ways I never like with the. I don't want to talk anymore about COVID because COVID's annoying, and I'm over it. Even though I have the Delta Plus variant right now, and I also have the Epsilon variant.
Awesome! Congratulations,
Delta Double Plus good variant. Yeah. But the number of people that were like, I got the vaccine even though I didn't want to because other people wanted me to.
Oh man.
So high. It's so high. Like, I don't care if you got the thing or whatever, but like doing it because people's ability to stand up to peer pressure is a lot lower than I anticipated.
Ain't that the truth?
Like a lot lower. I don't. Did you not have DARE class in your school where they told you don't give in to peer pressure? Wasn't that a whole thing they used to say to kids? Like, peer pressure, don't give in to it.
The real point of DARE was only give in to our peer pressure.
Well, that's true. My DARE officer was convicted for selling drugs to high schoolers. So, there's that. Yes. Anyway. Okay. So let's a quick rundown of the Britney Spears collapse. So like I said, in 2017 she had her big meltdown, which led her into her quasi-legal slavery status. But it started really in 2006. So February 26th, she's 24 years old. She was photographed driving an SUV around Malibu with her 4-month-old son Sean in her lap rather than a car seat as is legally required. Okay, she wasn't driving like super fast to my knowledge. She's just sort of puttering around. Not the best, but it's not like that bad, Yeah. But people made a big deal of it. In April 2006, child welfare officials and a deputy visit her home because her son was accidentally dropped from his high chair and his nanny was lifting him into the chair. Something broke. The infant slipped and fell and bruised his head on the floor. I'm assuming child welfare was called because the veracity of this story about how the bruise showed up was in doubt. But I don't know. I mean, high chairs do break sometimes. A lot of them are crappily made. I'm not. Who knows? All right, May 2006. Again, she can't get the baby seat thing worked out. Sean is now 8 months old. He's in the car seat, but he's photographed with him she's driving with him being forward facing instead of reverse, which again is a big no-no for children that young. Okay, a few days later, same month, Britney stumbles outside of the hotel in Manhattan and nearly drops the baby. And so far, this is a lot of media fueled hysteria.
Right.
Like, I watched her so-called baby bobble. That's what they called it at the time, where she almost drops Sean, and she doesn't almost drop him. She's walking, and it looks like she turns her heel and trips a minute. And then she recovers, and he's fine and she's fine. But they made this huge deal over this. Like, oh, she's an unfit mother. She's going to drop him. I mean, the car seats, you could do better. But, there's nothing really screaming to me unfit mother at this stage. Okay. In June 2006, she has an interview with Matt Lawyer on Dateline, who, again, probably a big perv, in which she is pregnant again with her second son, and she says marriage is great. She says my anxiety is caused by media scrutiny and making mountains out of molehills, which, again, I agree with. Yeah. I'm on Team Britney thus far. Mm-hmm. July 2006, she's pregnant. She's got a nice belly showing. Poses naked on an issue of Harper's Bazaar.
Yikes.
Again, this is not... We don't need to do this, Britney. It's fine, but she's been brought up this way. August 2006, she introduces her husband, Kevin Federline's performance at the 8th Annual Nickelodeon Teen Choice Awards, who goes by the name of K-Fed. Because, did you remember that trend? Did anything age more poorly than that? Like this trend of like, you take your first letter from your first name and then your first syllable for your second name and you make that your name. K-Fed. J-Lo. A-Rod. So many people did that.
Let's all be thankful that's over.
And does anything date you more, obviously, than calling yourself something like that? K-Fed, or like you're just, I mean, you're older than a boomer. But anyway, K-Fed J-Lo. November 2006, citing irreconcilable differences, Britney files for divorce from K-Fed after 2 years of marriage. So she just a few months ago was like, everything's fine and great. She's officially seeking custody of their two sons, Sean age 1, Jaden age 2 months. Britney allegedly broke the news to her husband after filing with text message of the night before. November 2006, later in November, there's some Las Vegas partying with Paris Hilton, some lack of pants here and there, some weird photos they're taking. She does some more award shows, yada, yada. December, the LA Department of Child and Family Services has been trying to set up a meeting with her, but the meeting has not been made. For what reasons are not clear. Later that month, she's also taken again in public without pants, being sort of generally sloppy, looking like maybe she's drunk and strung out on various things. No one's quite sure what's going on. She does a strip tease at some sort of club and has to be removed by the stage manager. Later in December 06, still later, December 06 was a big month for Britney overall. A lot of bad things happened. She's voted worst celebrity dog owner for 2016. Or 2006, I'm sorry. She received this title, according to the Hollywood Dog Magazine, a very important publication. Because, quote, she once had 3 chihuahuas and never left home without at least one of them. And as soon as she met K-Fed and had kids, the dogs disappeared. Which is true. I don't know what happened to those dogs.
It turned into sausage.
They turned into sausage. So she was voted.
Which is what should happen to chihuahuas.
Preach. So she was December, the Child Family Services, striptease being forcibly removed, a lot of photographs of her sort of stumbling around in public, and worst dog owner. A lot going on. At the end of December 2006, on worldofbritney.com, a popular fan site, World of Britney announced it was shutting down shop because the star had lost credibility from the fans. So she lost worldofbritney.com.
Man.
In January, which if people don't remember the early internet, there used to be like websites devoted to specific things, and it was great. Like, you wouldn't go to just Twitter and look for everything. You would go to, like, worldofseanramirez.org or whatever.
The Chapstick fan club.
Yeah, it was a different internet entirely, and it was much better. She collapses in January and has to be removed from a nightclub by her bodyguard. She has to be carried away. She says she responds on her website in this time. The media has criticized my every move and printed a skewed perception of who I really am as a person. Behind every decision I have made in my public life, there has always been an apparent contradiction. I have come to terms with that, which is why I usually don't pay much attention to it. I don't know what that means.
I mean, not that I don't want Britney to be free, but I think we can acknowledge at this point in her life, she's already been greatly just damaged.
Very damaged.
And is having trouble just functioning as a human being.
Yes.
Not that she should be enslaved, but, I mean, not looking good.
Right. February 07, she loses her new boyfriend, Isaac Cohen, who was returning the karma to Britney by also breaking up with her over phone. There's some additional spiraling. And this is when she has her famous shaving her hair moment and getting tattoos. Some of the hair somehow ending up on eBay. I believe the hair salon she went to have it shaved just sort of picked it up off the floor and tried to sell it. I think they did sell some of it. They originally asked for $1 million. For the hair, I don't know how much of that they ended up giving. But I think it still floats around there on the internet, and some occasionally strands of Britney hair will show up. Or claimed Britney hair. I'm not sure how you would tell it wasn't really. We should do that. We should just sell hair clippings. Because, you can't, like I said before, you can't get ahead in America without learning to scam. Maybe we just need to do that.
Yeah.
Late February 07, she checks into an LA inpatient facility following the shaving head incident. She then leaves there and checks into a drug rehab facility and then checks herself out on the same day. Then she does that again. So she twice in a row checks into and out of a drug rehab in the same day. By March, though, she had ended up spending a full month in the rehab center and comes out, her manager claiming that she's successfully completed the program. By May of 07, she's back on stage performing. And then by August 07, K-Fed is suing her for primary custody of the children. She's a little chubby now, and the media is making fun of her about it. In September 07, her manager drops her, and then the day later, her divorce lawyer also resigns. Later that month, she's charged with a misdemeanor count of hit and run and driving without a license for crashing into a parked car in a parking lot and then driving away. October 07, she's ordered to surrender custody of her kids to K-Fed until further notice. Then she's booked on those charges of hit and run, and she does a little bit of time. I mean like an hour or two, and she pays some money.
Okay.
After this, the judge tells her she has no visitation rights with her children until she complies with a court order. What this order was is not spelled out in the writing. No one's quite sure what it's about. December 07, child welfare investigators are looking into, quote, multiple child abuse and neglect allegations in a custody battle. Again, here, there's no way to know if any of this happened, if there was any neglect or abuse, because if you've ever been around a divorcing couple, they just tend to lie about each other and defame one another all the time to try and sway the judge to their side.
Mm-hmm.
It's what divorcing couples do. January 2008, Spears is taken away in an ambulance after police were called to her house to end a 3-hour custody standoff between her and K-Fed over the kids. She's taken to Cedars-Sinai Medical Center, which is not, in my opinion, the best medical center based on some knowledge I have about how they handled some things in the past. Not my favorite medical center. Next day, the court awards sole custody to K-Fed, and the rest of the month is more of the same. And then in February 2008, a superior court places Britney Spears and her estate under temporary conservatorship and names her father the conservator of not only the estate but of Spears herself. And this temporary conservatorship has been extended every time it's happened. It's been up for debate until the day. And there's a lot of rumors that maybe some people, I don't know if there's, some people have speculated that maybe the courts are getting a cut somehow or something. I don't know there's any evidence of that. But she's been in this control ever since. And how much control are they exerting over her? Well, of course, like I said, is the recent flare up, because people know about movies, is about IUD thing that set off people.
Pretty sure you can just pull those things out.
don't know. But she said, quote, I want to get married and have a baby. I was told I can't get married. I have an IUD inside me, but this so-called team won't let me go to the doctor to remove it because they don't want me to have any more children. Which is the thing that really struck a nerve with mommy bloggers in this latest iteration of Free Britney. What if it's like 2060 and we're still like Free Britney? Just every 4 years, it's like Free Britney, Free Britney, and she's still.
I mean, we are stuck in the 90s.
It's an eternal loop.
Yeah,
it's an eternal loop. It's like the year to the year 2065, and people are like Free Britney, and Britney's just in a nursing home somewhere. Her dad is head in a jar that still has her conservatorship.
Like Nixon.
Yeah. Right. Okay. So, not that any of this isn't terrible, right? I'm just. It all sounds awful, but I just find it amazing that this IUD sentence is the thing that really set everything up. When I would say being forced to take psychiatric drugs against your will is equally bad.
Yeah.
But there's no movie about that, about women being dressed up and forced to do that, so people don't know how to respond. Like she's apparently been forced to change off her previous psychiatric drug to lithium, which is not a drug, by the way. It's literally just the element lithium, and it's used to quote unquote treat mania and bipolar. And I sort of say quotes because, like all right-thinking people, I'm incredibly skeptical, to the point of outright derision of anyone and anything in psychology or psychiatry.
Lithium is the original chill pill.
Yeah, they're all quacks who don't know what they're doing and who admit it.
There's a lot of big powerful people in interesting places that are lobbying for the addition of lithium to drinking water.
Yeah, which is not that's just to try and make people be. It's basically putting soma in the water so people don't revolt.
Yeah,
that's all it is.
Yep.
And if you look up these medications, like these psychiatric medications, the first sentence they all say is, "We don't know why this works, but da 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 da." Like the first sentence on WebMD for lithium is the quote: "Exactly how lithium works is unknown, but it might help mental disorders by increasing the activity of chemical messengers in the brain." Okay, if you want to know psychiatry in general, just copy that sentence verbatim and then replace lithium with any other drug.
It is quackery.
It's all quote something something, we don't know, probably something something, chemicals in brain something something.
Yeah.
They don't know, they're retarded. The entire psychiatric field should be shut down and the doctors who practice it should be stood on a stage so we can hurl tomatoes at them.
Amen.
I can solve people's mental health better than 99% of all these people. Go to the gym.
Yeah.
Get some exercise. Go outside. Stop looking at your computer screen. Try to eat real food. Call your parents. Stop masturbating 5 times a day. Ta-da!
You're a miracle worker.
I am Dr. Phil.
You did just solve like 90% of the mental health issues in the country in one sentence.
I know.
Yeah.
But you can't charge any money for that.
Nope.
So they just drug people up on all manner of insane, mind-altering cocktails. They literally give speed to children.
Yeah.
They give meth to 5-year-olds. Oh, it's not meth. Adderall is slightly different. Here's a list of inconsequential differences between the two that are not pharmacologically relevant.
Well, Adderall is patentable
awful.
And meth is not patentable. That's the difference.
Psychiatry is awful. Ban psychiatry. But anyway, Britney was apparently forced to take these different meds, allegedly against her will. Lithium's not a thing to play around with. It can totally impact your mood, your energy, your sociability. Like, you can lose all interest of engaging with other people on lithium. And the line between quote unquote therapeutic lithium dose and toxic lithium dose is like razor thin. As Britney said, quote, "You can go mentally impaired on lithium if you take too much, if you stay on it longer than 5 months. But my father put me on that and I felt drunk." She claimed she had difficulty communicating with other people while on it, like she had difficulty speaking, and that 6 nurses were assigned to her house and wouldn't leave for a month as they monitored her.
Whoa.
Again, as a conservatee, she does not have the right to refuse medical treatment, and she does not have to have informed consent about the medication she is given.
Well, that's her if she goes off the res, that's her punishment. They'll drug you for 6 months or whatever.
Yes, exactly. Like this is how they like, oh, you don't want to play ball? Yeah. Well, then
we won't let you see your kids, and we'll bomb you on lithium for 6 months.
Yeah.
Put you on medical house arrest.
Yeah. This is some she else said about her father. She said, the control he had over me. This is a telling quote. She said, quote, the control he had over someone as powerful as me. He loved the control that hurt his own daughter. 100,000%. He loved it, she said. I'm tired of feeling alone. I deserve to have the same rights as anyone else does. Okay. Consider that wording. Someone as powerful as me. He loved the control he had over someone as powerful as me. Now, I agree with that. I think her dad does love the control in hurting his own daughter. I believe that 100%. I believe he's a very bad person.
But she's not powerful.
Right. But see, like, if you don't, this is what I mean. Like, people have to get in touch with the deep darkness in their own soul, because that qualifier she throws in there, as someone as powerful as me, that line right there, that's the line I believe enslaves Britney. That one idea. More than anything else. Like, not letting her dad off the hook, the court off the hook, the doctors they're all on the hook. But someone as powerful as me, that's the mindset of someone steeped in the devil's discourse of do as thou wilt.
Mm-hmm.
Do as thou wilt shall be the whole of the law, is what Aleister Crowley wrote. It's self-worship. It's always self-worship. It's always putting yourself in the place of God. That's the whole of the fall. It's the origin of every sin and all sin. It's like, you will be like God, Satan told Eve. And that's what he still tells women, like Britney, and men. The thing that gets us all, right? So what's happened to Britney is this monomaniacal evil that's consumed her and her family. Same with Michael Jackson and DiCaprio, right? It comes from this. It always comes from this belief that, like, someone as powerful as me. Like this is what gets her off. She's like, I can just do whatever and nothing will happen. Or it's hard to explain, but that idea of, like, I don't have to think about morality or God's laws. I don't have to think about right and wrong. I just do. Like, I can just pimp my daughter out and everything will be fine for me. And but you know, he's getting all this money, but he still has to live in an RV in Louisiana. Jamie Spears. Because apparently his wife and him are in a legal battle. Yeah. She's gotten the house and stuff. It never works. It never works. It's not you. It always consumes you eventually. You know? And all this stuff it's been going on in Hollywood forever. It's been going on for such a long time. And I mean, Weinstein was just the fall guy. They do this a lot. Like, he's like, oh yeah, people are upset. Like that fella who got hit real hard for upping the price of AIDS medication. What was his name? Remember that guy?
No.
Anyway, he was the guy. He sold the AIDS meds.
Mm-hmm.
He jacked up the price, and they got him for, like, price gouging or whatever. And then the media is like, see, we've gotten rid of the problem in the pharmaceutical industry. It's mostly good, but there was this one bad guy, and now he's out, and things are fine. They use this as a fall guy. Like, Harvey Weinstein was the fall guy. Like, It's mostly fine, but now we got rid of the one bad guy, and now the industry's good again. But it isn't. Nickelodeon is still hiring child pedophiles. Disney is still promoting pedophilia. It's all there all the time. And people have been trying to whistleblow for forever. You know? Like Rose McGowan.
Mm-hmm.
McGowan. McGowan. She's been trying to tell people about that. Again, lady that shaved her head. Probably for the same reasons.
Mm-hmm.
Probably for the same reasons, because she doesn't want people to touch her anymore.
Yeah, and it's easy to dismiss somebody like that because you say, "Oh, look how crazy she acts." Why would you listen to anything she has to say? But she's acting crazy because she's been abused. I mean, of course, she's acting crazy. If I wouldn't believe her story if she acted normal.
A good point. And again, women know the power of their hair. Like the other day, I've had two. My hair's luxurious. A woman stopped me in a cafeteria, and she's this older lady. She came and she looked at me and she said, "Great hair." And she literally just took me in for like 5 seconds. It's like, and then she just walked away. Like it really happened. And another time, not too long ago, this woman walked up to me. I was just walking down the hallway. She grabbed my arm to stop me. And she looked at me. She looked me right in the eye. She said, "I would murder a puppy for that hair." And she walked away. Because see, women were really into hair.
Yeah,
and my youngest daughter has my hair almost exactly. And like every time we go somewhere, people are like, "All right." Like yesterday, we went out to like a dinner, and 4 separate people commented on her hair. It's crazy. But my point in that is that women shaving their head is a big deal for them, and they don't do it unless something really bad happened.
Yeah.
Okay. So, so there's Rose McGowan. McGowan. I always want to say McGowan.
McGowan.
It's not right though. It's McGowan. Jimmy Savile. Right. He was like, there was no one bigger on the other side of the pond in media, radio, and television than Jimmy Savile, and he was knighted. That's how deep the rot goes. Like the royal family was like, this guy, the king of perverts, is who we're going to elevate.
Yep.
I mean, Jimmy Savile. I mean, he probably abused, sexually assaulted hundreds and hundreds. And he was a guy, and again, no one questions it because people are too good to believe that this evil exists. This is a big problem because all of it's right there in plain sight. He was lifelong bachelor, always suspicious. If a man doesn't become a monk by like age 40 and he hasn't found somebody, there's like, why? Not all the time, but you do have to start saying, what's going on, buddy? But then the bigger one, on top of that, when you pair it with, he lived with his mother until the day she died. He called her, number 3, the Duchess. And then, after she did pass, he kept her bedroom and wardrobe unchanged the rest of his life, every year, and had her clothes dry cleaned once a year. He's pegging every creepy pervert thing imaginable. And he's hanging out with kids, and he's doing this. Look, and people are like, "Oh, that can't be what's happening. Someone would stop it. Someone would." But it's I mean, there's the little girl who died on the set of Steven Spielberg's movie, or who at least went into her death throes on the set. People are like, "Well, it's like." Just think about it, guys. Is things really people like, they just overlook it because isn't that weird, people just don't want to believe things are as bad as they are because they're not that bad. But Elijah Wood, Frodo, he said similar things. He hinted at similar things. He said there's a lot of vipers in this industry. Or Corey Feldman, the child. He said Charlie Sheen raped people, raped little boys. Can believe that easily about Charlie Sheen.
I mean, you remember the John Travolta courtroom
John
stuff?
Travolta.
Holy cow!
Kevin Spacey.
Yep.
It's just one giant nest of pedophilic rapists.
And they're in an industry that produces media, and we're just going to let kids watch their work product?
Exactly.
Like, we're going to give them money?
Or Bill Cosby, who they just let out of jail. I saw a great meme on that, but the Pawn Stars guy?
Yeah.
But he's like, best I can do. People like, free Britney. Best I can do is Bill Cosby. Best I can do is Bill Cosby. The guy that raped people with quaaludes.
Quaaludes.
Quaaludes. Quaaludes, Quaaludes. Everyone and everyone's just like, no, he's he's America's black dad. He wouldn't do that, Or Evan Rachel Wood, who accused Marilyn Manson of sexual abuse. Again, though, I mean, what were you thinking? Of course, Marilyn Manson was going to do that. And the list goes on. And it's just really this stuff has to be brought under. It has to be brought to heel.
Yeah,
it's awful. There's nothing good that can come of it. But again, I guess the overall message is don't seek fame, don't seek fortune. If you get too much money, give it away or burn it or throw it off a bridge. Because if you have enough to look after yourself and other people, anything else is a trap. It truly is. It will just be a knife twisted into your back by evil. It will be something used to lead you around by the nose. Guaranteed.
How many people like wasted all the potential of the second half of their life because they were chasing a big fat 401k?
Everybody. The whole country. This is I think this is what you're hitting on, why people think that they're old at 28.
Yeah.
Is because people just now the rest of my life I can't spend on.
Right. I can't have any fun anymore. I can't do anything great because I've only got so much time to build my 401k up to the point where I can retire, which, newsflash, is never going to happen for most people now. Those days are gone. Happen. But even if it could happen, is it worth it?
Right.
Is it worth it? And one bad year in the market can take it all away. Yeah, even if you have good motives, and want to leave a legacy for your children, which is a great thing to do, but maybe that legacy shouldn't entirely be valued in US dollars and stock in companies that are crap.
Yeah, dude, this is seriously, anything more than what you need is a trap and will be used against you. And people, I mean, there's so many spells. Instagram is this spell. It's always serving people images of beautiful people in exotic places. And there's nothing wrong with beautiful people or exotic places. I encourage you to travel and go do cool things, right? But the little whisper in the ear is you could have this only if.
Mm-hmm.
And if you sell your soul a little bit.
Yep.
A little bit. Because it's not like these people don't get led. They get led down a primrose path. It's not that they wake up one day and I mean, maybe some of them do, but it's not that they wake up one day and it's I'm going to be a Hollywood child sex predator. It's that people will they get, someone's a little suspicious. Someone's acting a little bit it's pegging your suspicions. It's going, this guy, and you're but if I say anything, maybe I won't get the role. Maybe people, I don't know anyway for sure. I just won't look into it.
Yeah.
Turn away. And you do that a little bit more when a little bit more evidence comes up. And you do that a little bit more because now you're deeper into it. Now your career's really going, and now you've gotten 3 movies under your belt and you're really about to hit that big time. You're about to be like Johnny Depp or Christina Hendricks. You're about to get you're about to be like a household name if you just don't bring it up right now. Later, do it later.
Mm-hmm.
Later, when you have the money, then you'll be free to say it. And then it's but no, now so many people like me, and what if they like me? And it's an increasing it just tightens around your neck the more you get. And the thing is, you can do this stuff now. You see on Instagram, you can go to Costa Rica. Nothing's stopping you from going to Costa Rica today and swimming with dolphins. Homeless people do it. People living in vans. I mean, a flight from Idaho to Costa Rica is $300, $400. It's not an unattainable amount of money. I know I'm being a little glib, it's so easy. Everyone is so cheap to travel the world. But I'm doing that sort of for effect.
Yeah.
Because people think they're 30 years old and they think that if they don't make 6 figures, they can't afford to do anything. And it's just not true. It's just not just go, because people get so afraid that they're I can't go do it because then I don't have enough money in case something. It's always this fear of money. That's what it always is. That's why you have to throw it off a bridge. You have to burn it in a pile. Otherwise, you too will be like Britney and become a hashtag with an IUD. You.
I don't want to be a hashtag, man.
I don't want to be a hashtag either. Yeah, everything is so bad. I don't know how to tell people about it anymore, but that's free Britney. I hope she does get free. She won't though.
It could happen. Maybe the Free Mexican Army will lead a raid.
Free Mexican Air Force.
Air Force will lead an aerial raid.
We just fly in a hot air balloon and grab Britney.
Yeah.
And then the whole way she's screaming about her lack of lithium.
Yeah. I mean, get on it, Bannister.
Yeah.
You can be our drop ship.
I think I did it again. I made you believe we're more than just friends. I don't really know this song. It might seem like a crush, but that doesn't mean I'm serious. Is that how the song? I think that's how the song goes.
I have no idea.
Oops, I did it again. We know all pop songs are the same. I played with your heart, got lost in the game. Let's see. Oh, baby, baby, oops. A minor, E, A minor, G, C. It's always just G. E, G. I think that would be it. Yeah. Poor Britney.
Poor Britney. Poor Britney. Poor Britney. Poor Britney. Poor Britney.